My in-laws said I'd never amount to anything without their son. So I divorced him, became a self-made millionaire, and now he's remarried to someone who works the night shift at MY factory. Just a quick pause. Your support means the world to us. Please subscribe and tell us in the comments where you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you. I'll never forget the exact words Diane Mitchell said to me that Sunday afternoon in August 2019. We were sitting in her pristine living room in Stone Mountain, the one with the white carpet nobody was allowed to walk on with shoes. "Helen, sweetheart, you need to understand something." She leaned forward, her perfectly manicured nails wrapped around a teacup. "Without Desmond, you'd be nothing. You barely graduated community college. My son gave you everything, this life, this status, everything." My hands trembled in my lap. I'd been married to Desmond for 6 years, and his mother had been chipping away at me for every single one of them. But that day something snapped. His father, William, nodded slowly from his leather recliner. "She's right, girl. Desmond is a financial analyst at Hartsfield Partners. You work at a call center making what, $30,000 a year? You should be grateful." Desmond sat beside me silent. Not defending me, not contradicting them, just scrolling through his phone like I wasn't being torn apart. That silence cut deeper than their words. "Say something," I whispered to him. He barely glanced up. "They have a point, Helen. You could try harder. Maybe go back to school or something." The room felt like it was closing in. I could smell Diane's expensive perfume mixed with the lemon furniture polish. My throat tightened, but I refused to cry in front of them. "I see," I said quietly, standing up. "Thank you for making things so clear." I walked out of that house and didn't look back. Chapter 2. The Marriage Unravels. That night, Desmond came home to our apartment in Decatur around midnight. I was sitting at our kitchen table with a notepad, tallying numbers I'd ignored for too long. "What's your problem?" he asked, loosening his tie. "You embarrassed me in front of my parents." "Embarrassed you?" My voice cracked. "Desmond, they called me worthless to my face and you agreed with them." He rolled his eyes. "Don't be dramatic. They were trying to motivate you. You've been at that call center for 4 years, Helen. 4 years. No ambition, no drive. I'm tired of carrying us financially." His words hit like physical blows. I looked at this man I'd loved since we were 22, and suddenly he was a stranger. "Carrying us? I pay half the rent. I buy the groceries. I clean this entire apartment because you're too busy networking at happy hours. Yeah, and I make $75,000 a year while you make 30. Do the math." He grabbed a beer from the fridge. "My parents are right. You're holding me back." Something inside me crystallized in that moment. A clarity I'd been avoiding for years. "Then I guess you won't mind when I stop holding you back permanently." His face twisted. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I want a divorce." The words came out steady, strong. Desmond laughed, actually laughed. "You divorce me? Good luck surviving without my income, baby." I filed for divorce the next morning at the Fulton County Courthouse. Cost me $350 I'd been saving for a new work laptop. Desmond didn't take it seriously until the sheriff served him papers at his office. He called me 17 times that day. I answered once. "You're making a huge mistake," he said, his voice tight with anger. "You think you can make it alone? You're delusional." "Maybe," I replied, "but I'd rather be delusional and alone than disrespected in my own marriage." I hung up. My mama Ruth took me in at her house in East Point. She'd been a nurse for 30 years, raised me and my brother Jamal by herself after Daddy died. "Baby, you sure about this?" she asked over sweet tea on her porch. "Marriage is work. Maybe counseling." "Mama, he doesn't respect me. His family treats me like trash and he lets them." I stirred my tea watching the ice swirl. I can't live like that anymore. She nodded slowly. Then you do what you need to do. But Helen, you better have a plan. Pride don't pay bills. He was right. I lay awake that night on her lumpy guest bed, staring at the ceiling. I had $14,000 in savings, a beat-up Honda with 130,000 miles, and a job that paid barely enough to survive. But I also had something I didn't have before: rage. Pure, focused, burning rage that made my skin hot and my mind sharp. I worked at AccuCall Solutions, taking customer service calls for various companies. It was soul-crushing, repetitive work, but I'd noticed something over 4 years. Every company we served had terrible inventory management. They'd lose products, overorder, waste thousands monthly. During my lunch breaks, I started researching supply chain solutions. I found a gap in the market for small to medium businesses that couldn't afford enterprise software. They needed something affordable, user-friendly, and customizable. My coworker, Tamika Johnson, noticed me studying logistics textbooks. "Girl, what you doing? Trying to become a manager here?" She laughed, unwrapping her sandwich. "Hell no. I'm getting out of here." I showed her my notes. Pages of research on inventory management, supplier relationships, wholesale connections. Her eyes widened. "You serious about this?" "Dead serious." And I was. I'd been sleepwalking through life, letting Desmond and his family define my worth. No more. Tamika leaned back, studying me. "My cousin DeAndre runs a small manufacturing plant in Forest Park. Always complaining about inventory issues. Maybe he'd let you test whatever you're building." That night I called DeAndre. "I'll give you a month," he said. "But I'm not paying you unless you actually fix something." Deal. I spent every night after work and every weekend building a basic inventory tracking system. I taught myself Python coding through YouTube videos and free online courses. Mama brought me coffee at 2 a.m. shaking her head. "You gonna work yourself to death, baby? Better than dying slow in that marriage." DeAndre's plant manufactured custom metalwork, gates, railings, decorative pieces. His inventory was chaos. Handwritten logs, missing items, suppliers delivering wrong quantities. I implemented my system over 3 weeks, working 12-hour days after my regular job. The first month, his accuracy rate jumped from 62% to 94%. He saved $8,300 in prevented waste. "Helen, this is incredible," DeAndre said, showing me the reports. "How much you want for this?" My hands shook. $5,000 for setup, then $200 monthly for maintenance and updates. I'd researched pricing extensively. He didn't hesitate. "Done. And I'm telling every business owner I know about you." I walked out of that plant in October 2019 with a check for $5,000 and 3 referrals. I sat in my car and cried, big, ugly, relieved tears. This was real. This could work. Desmond's words echoed. "Good luck surviving without my income, baby." I took a photo of that check and saved it to my phone. The divorce finalized in November. Desmond fought for spousal support, claiming he'd supported my lifestyle. The judge looked at our financials and laughed him out of court. "Sir, you've been married 6 years, both worked full-time and split expenses. Request denied." Outside the courthouse, Desmond cornered me. "You're really doing this? Throwing away everything we built?" "We didn't build anything, Desmond. Your parents built a prison and you handed them the keys." I walked away. His mother called me that night. "You're a stupid girl, Helen. You'll be begging to come back within a year. Just watch." By March 2020, I had 15 clients, all small manufacturing businesses across Metro Atlanta. I'd quit AccuCall and worked from Mama's dining room table. Then COVID hit and everything changed. Suddenly, Businesses were desperate for efficient systems as supply chains collapsed globally. My phone rang constantly. Can you help us track shipments? We need digital inventory systems. Our whole operation is paper-based and our staff is remote now. I hired Tamika as my first employee in April. Then I brought on Rashad Coleman, a programmer I'd met at a Black Tech networking event. By June, we had 47 clients and revenue of $32,000 monthly. I registered as an LLC, Mitchell Logistics Solutions. Yes, I kept Desmond's last name for business. It was established on my early contracts, and besides I'd earned it through 6 years of putting up with his family's nonsense. Jamal, my younger brother, helped me move into a small office space in College Park. "Sis, this is wild," he said, carrying in boxes of equipment. "You really did it." But I couldn't celebrate yet. I was running on fumes, sleeping 4 hours nightly, eating irregularly, working until my eyes blurred. Mama forced me to come to Sunday dinner. "Baby, success means nothing if you dead." She loaded my plate with fried chicken, collards, and mac and cheese. "You gotta take care of yourself." "I will, Mama. Soon as things stabilize." She gave me that look, the one that said she knew I was lying but loved me anyway. That night my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Heard you got a little business going. Cute. Desmond. Still checking on me, still dismissive." November 2020 brought the opportunity that changed everything. A manufacturing warehouse in Jonesboro was going under. The owner, Gerald Thompson, was retiring with no succession plan. The facility was 60,000 square feet with equipment, existing contracts, and 37 employees. Price: $380,000. I had $73,000 in business savings. Nowhere near enough. But Rashad knew a venture capitalist named Simone Edwards who invested in minority-owned businesses. I pitched her on a Tuesday afternoon via Zoom, hands shaking so hard I had to grip the desk. "Ms. Edwards, I've taken Mitchell Logistics from 0 to $490,000 in annual revenue in 14 months. With this warehouse, we're not just managing supply chains, we become part of them. We manufacture, we optimize, we control quality from start to finish." Simone's face was unreadable. "What makes you different from the 100 other logistics companies in Atlanta?" "I understand inefficiency from the inside. I lived in it, worked in it, suffered through it. I know exactly where small and medium businesses bleed money because I watched it happen daily for years. And more than that." I leaned toward the camera. "I'm hungry. Not desperate, hungry. There's a difference." She smiled. "I'll give you $200,000 for 20% equity. The rest you'll need to finance." I secured an SBA loan for the remaining amount. By January 2021, I owned a manufacturing warehouse. Me, Helen Mitchell, the girl who'd never amount to anything. Running a warehouse was brutal. The existing employees were skeptical of me, a 31-year-old Black woman with no manufacturing background. Especially the floor manager, Rick Patterson, a white man in his 50s who'd been there 15 years. "No offense, ma'am," he said during my first walkthrough, "but do you actually know how to operate any of this machinery?" "No, Rick, I don't. That's why I hired you, to manage the floor. I know logistics, supply chain optimization, and how to make this facility profitable. You know manufacturing. We both do our jobs and we'll be fine." I held his gaze until he nodded, grudging respect in his eyes. I spent 3 months learning every aspect of the operation. I worked night shifts learning the machinery. I studied manufacturing processes, quality control, safety regulations. I brought in consultants to modernize our equipment. By June 2021, we'd increased output by 43% while reducing defects by 61%. Revenue hit $1.8 million annually. Mama came to visit the warehouse in August, walking through with tears in her eyes. Baby, look at what you built. Your daddy would be so proud. I showed her the break room I'd renovated, comfortable chairs, a real kitchen, a TV. I remember what it's like to be on your feet all day, Mama. These people work hard. They deserve dignity. That night, Diane Mitchell called me. I hadn't heard from Desmond's family since the divorce. Helen, it's Diane. I heard about your business venture. Her voice dripped with condescension. That's nice, dear. Small businesses are such a gamble. I hope it works out for you. I smiled into the phone. Thank you, Diane. I'm sure you'll be hearing more about it soon. Desmond got engaged in October 2021. I saw it on Facebook. Him and a woman named Tasha Reynolds, posing with a ring at Piedmont Park. Mutual friends told me she was 26, worked as a customer service representative, and had a 6-year-old daughter. Everything his parents had criticized me for being: lower income, no college degree, a dead-end job. But she was light-skinned with long straight hair, and apparently that made all the difference to Diane. I felt nothing. No jealousy, no regret. Just a distant curiosity about the hypocrisy. They married in March 2022, a small ceremony I heard about through the grapevine. Good for them. I was too busy growing my empire to care. By summer 2022, Mitchell Logistics Solutions had expanded to 3 facilities and 214 employees. Revenue topped $8 million annually. I'd paid off the SBA loan early. I bought Mama a house in Lithonia with a wraparound porch and a garden. I bought myself a house in Brookhaven with an office and a pool. Then in September, Rick came to my office looking uncomfortable. Boss, we got a new applicant for the night shift assembly line. She's qualified, references check out. But he slid the application across my desk. I thought you should see this first. The name jumped out at me. Tasha Mitchell. Desmond's wife. My successor. Applying to work at my warehouse. I could have rejected her application. Nobody would have questioned it. But something compelled me to approve it. Maybe curiosity, maybe a sense of poetic justice. Tasha started on the night shift in October 2022, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., assembling custom hardware components. He had no idea I owned the company. The warehouse operated under Mitchell Manufacturing Solutions, and I rarely visited the floor during night shifts. Tamika thought I was insane. Girl, why would you hire your ex-husband's wife? That's asking for drama. Or it's the universe's way of showing me how far I've come, I replied. Besides, she needs the job. He's got a kid. I'm not going to punish her for Desmond's sins. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel a savage satisfaction. The woman who'd replaced me, who'd inherited Desmond and his judgmental family, was now working the night shift at a facility I owned. She was making $18 an hour plus benefits. Good pay for the work, fair wages I insisted on. But still, the irony was delicious. I finally met her in November during a surprise late-night facility inspection. I walked the floor at 11 p.m. checking quality control. Tasha was at Station 7, focused on her work, her hands moving efficiently. Tasha Mitchell? I said, reading her name tag. She looked up and I saw the recognition in her eyes. She'd seen photos of me clearly. Ms. Mitchell, she said carefully. I didn't know you did floor inspections. I do surprise visits quarterly. How are you finding the work? She swallowed hard. It's good. Fair pay, decent benefits. Better than my last job. Good. That's what I aim for. If you need anything, talk to Rick. I walked away, feeling her eyes on my back. December brought revelations. Tasha requested a meeting with me, formal through Rick. We sat in my office on a Wednesday afternoon. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. Ms. Mitchell, I need to be honest with you. I know who you are. I know you were married to Desmond. And I think you should know, things aren't good. I hadn't expected this. Tasha, you don't owe me any explanations about your personal life. No, but you should know the truth about who you hired. She twisted her hands together. Desmond lost his job at Hartsfield Partners 8 months ago. He got caught falsifying expense reports. He's been unemployed since, barely looking for work. His parents are paying our rent. I'm working night shifts because it pays more, trying to support my daughter and him. And his mother. She laughed bitterly. Diane treats me like garbage. Tells me I'm not good enough, that I trapped her son, that I'm dragging him down. The parallel to my own experience was staggering. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. The thing is, I saw what you built. I asked around, learned your story. You left him and created all this. She gestured around my office. Meanwhile, I'm stuck in the same cycle you escaped. And I think he's cheating on me. My stomach tightened. What makes you think that? He's gone all hours, secretive with his phone. And last week, Diane said something about how Desmond needs a woman who understands his potential, like she thought you did. Past tense. Tasha's eyes filled with tears. I have a daughter to think about. I can't keep doing this. I did something unexpected. I helped her. Over the next month, I connected Tasha with a good divorce attorney, a woman named Patricia who'd helped several of my employees through tough situations. I also promoted Tasha to day shift supervisor, a position that paid $26 an hour and came with better hours so she could see her daughter. Desmond found out in January 2023. He showed up at my office, furious, bypassing reception and bursting through my door. What the hell are you doing, Helen? Poisoning my wife against me. I looked up calmly from my desk. Desmond, you need to leave. You're trespassing. You hired Tasha just to humiliate me. You're giving her advice to leave me. This is psychotic. His face was red, his expensive suit wrinkled. He looked diminished, somehow smaller than I remembered. I hired Tasha because she was qualified. I'm helping her because she asked for help. Everything else, that's on you. I stood up. How does it feel, Desmond, knowing your wife works at my company? That I'm successful while you're unemployed and living off your parents? You vindictive. No, I'm not vindictive. If I were, I would have fired her the moment I saw her application. Instead, I gave her a fair wage and promoted her based on merit. That's more than you ever did for me. See my value. I walked around my desk. You told me I'd never survive without you. Your mother said I'd be begging to come back within a year. It's been 3 years, Desmond. I'm a millionaire. I employ over 200 people. And you? I smiled coldly. You're exactly where you deserve to be. He left. Security escorted him out. I never saw him again. February 2023. I attended the Atlanta Business Chronicle's 40 Under 40 Awards ceremony. Mitchell Manufacturing Solutions had hit $12 million in revenue. I wore a custom navy suit, my hair in natural curls I'd spent years hiding in corporate settings. Mama sat in the front row, beaming. Simone Edwards presented my award. Helen Mitchell exemplifies entrepreneurial excellence, vision, execution, and social responsibility. She's created hundreds of jobs while maintaining exceptional workplace standards. The applause washed over me. I thought about that Sunday in Diane's living room, her voice dripping with contempt. Without Desmond, you'd be nothing. I thought about Desmond's dismissive laugh when I said I wanted a divorce. Good luck surviving without my income, baby. At the podium, I spoke from my heart. 3 years ago, I was told I'd never amount to anything without someone else defining my worth. I was told my ambitions were small, my potential limited. Today, I stand here as proof that other people's opinions of you don't determine your destiny. Your response to those opinions does. I saw Tasha in the audience, applauding. She'd finalized her divorce last month. To anyone out there trapped in a relationship or situation where you're not valued, leaving is terrifying. Building something new is exhausting. But I promise you, freedom and self-respect are worth every sleepless night and every moment of doubt. Later at the reception, Jamal hugged me tight. Sis, you did it. You really did it. I looked around the room, at the business leaders wanting to network, at the opportunities opening before me, at the life I'd built from rage and determination and refusing to accept someone else's limitations. Yeah, I said, smiling. I really did. Diane never apologized. Desmond faded into obscurity. But I didn't need their validation anymore. I had something better. Proof that I was always enough, with or without them. And that knowledge. That was worth more than any apology could ever be.